2. We are live. Welcome to another installment of the Final Scoop podcast. My name is Robert Schinetsky, the supplement engineer. Joining me are my international band of brothers and Robert Samborsky, Apollon Nutrition, Shane Smith, Stack.com, TJ Gonen, back from the dead, Fitness Deal News, Lukasz Rytkowski, Prometeus Intelligent Sports Technology, and special guest for this week, the CEO and founder of Ghost, the Stack.com 2020 brand of the year, Dan Lourenco. Thank you so much, my friends, for joining us, Dan. Thank you for being the special guest this week. How are we all doing?
Great, man. Yeah, happy to be here.
Outstanding. Well, I'm glad we've been trying to get this in the works for some time now, so thank you for taking the time, Dan. We appreciate it. And as we do with all first-time guests here, give us a little bit of background. You've been in the industry for a long time. Ghost has been around 5 and change years. Give us a little bit of background, how you got into the industry, where you started, and the birth and rise of Ghost.
Sure. So I guess it's worthwhile kind of starting. It's a fun tidbit about the two of us, right? My very first, call it interview or any type of conversation about Ghost in this industry was actually with you, Robert, with Price Plow back in 2016, right before we even launched. So it's crazy to think about how much has happened since then. Mm-hmm. And I'm probably going to say this a lot today, but Ghost, the growth and just the support and how it's caught on, it's humbling. And this is so far past anything me and Ryan ever dreamed of, thought of, or planned. We are just so far beyond. I don't even really know what we were thinking when we were starting this thing. I thought we had some unique ideas to the space, but just to see kind of how and where it's gone has been pretty insane. But look, I got my start in the industry back in 2009, 2010. I was actually a corporate pilot. I flew turboprops and small business jets out of the Northeast. And look, when you're doing that, there's not really a lot of hobbies that you can have. I went to school for marketing and finance, was a pilot, but I was really into sports nutrition and training and supplements. I was one of those guys who I think probably knew a lot about products in the industry, but didn't actually work in it. And it was something that, I was just always interested in. And, I guess to kind of long story short, I found a really small company at the time, called the 1-800 number on the back of the bottle and asked where I could buy it in my home state of Connecticut in the States. And they said nowhere. And I kind of started helping them out a little bit on the side. Just kind of call it like a sales, whatever. I was just trying to get free stuff, guys. You know the grind. You know how, how that goes.
That's how I got started with bodybuilding.com forums. It's like you just enter those free product giveaways and you write reviews and stuff. Yeah.
Dude, I kept myself as part of even the sales process with some of these stores, like the Max Muscles and stuff of the world, just because, again, I knew if I kept myself involved, I'd keep getting free products, right? And I was finishing my undergrad. I was flying planes. I was, loaded, but having a lot of fun. And look, 23, 24 years old, had some life stuff happen, had a breakup that when you're a kid like that, you think your fucking world's ending, and said, hey, I'm going to put this pilot thing on hold and see what else is out there for me. And I joined that tiny company, Cellucor at the time. And look, I had a crazy idea, with the team there, Joey Savage, from Glaxon and me and the CEO kind of put our heads together and came up with this crazy product idea called C4. And I guess you could say the rest is history, right? Now, I will say this, the initial iteration of C4 is much different than today's iteration, right? The initial iteration of C4, just for you guys, had DMA in it even. Okay?
No, it didn't. Really?
It did until the U.S. military, until the military kind of passed their kind of advisory, hey, we don't want any more DMA in the military. And the military was a big customer of Cellucor. The initial one actually did have DMA in it. The whole concept of the initial C4 was look at what Jack 3D is doing. Can we do that with adding some efficacy? Because Jack was a 5-6 gram prop blend, fronted by creatine mono. Okay, so can we add something cool, which was introducing nitrates, right? Creatine nitrate was the big thing. Can we add that in, actually prioritize labeling and flavors, but kind of just builds on that. And look, same thing when we get to the Ghost part of the story. I don't think innovation, especially in today's market, it's not always miles. Sometimes the best innovation is inches or even millimeters. And that was really all C4 at the time was hey, let's just move the ball a little bit more forward. And look, the rest is history, right? I ended up, working hard with that company for a bunch of years and, spent a lot of good time there. But look, goals are important personally and professionally. Your goals, your objectives, that drives everything. And the goal of that company and a lot of companies in all industries, not just sports nutrition, is to be the biggest in the world. And I respect that. I hope they get it, right? I bled for that brand for a long time. I hope they get there. But, when they started prioritizing the expansion into the Walmarts and the club, kind of channels of the world, it was time for me to go. And, it was kind of a handshake and a job well done, at least at the time. And like, look, that kind of even leads into where Ghost came from. The name Ghost came from the feeling of kind of being behind the scenes. It's not always your vision that gets on shelf. That was me at that company. Right? I don't want to market to Walmart, moms of the world. Nothing against them. It's just not me. So that's kind of where the idea for Ghost and the name for Ghost even came from. And like, look, who you go to battle with is everything. Partnered up with my best friend, Ryan Hughes. Some of my really good friends over the years that were way cooler than me, like kind of in the influencers, your Christian Guzmans and stuff of the world. Like, they were excited to see what we were cooking. And, we had this idea to say, hey, like, we want to build a brand where the marketing is no marketing. Where essentially it's like, we're just going to share the story of two guys building this brand, starting in my condo in Vegas. Like, we're just going to share how we use the products and what we do every day. Because if you think back to that time, guys, like companies and athletes and whatever, like they didn't share that they had fun. All they did was share that they trained 24/7, eat chicken breast 24/7, and that's all they did, right? But they didn't share like, hey, like, I work hard so I can go have fun, and I want to look good because I'm going to a buddy's wedding, or I'm going to, want to kick my kid's ass on the soccer field, or no, I want to go like look good at a party or event. Like, it was only the stage and only the hardcore training. So our goal is like, we all take supplements, we all train our faces off, but we also have fun and live our life. And that was kind of where the whole idea of lifestyle came from, which I think now it's been overused and abused. But for us, it was like lifestyle to us just meant keeping it real. And, when we launched Ghost, and Shane will probably remember this, when we launched Ghost, we launched with 2 products, Legend, pre-workout, and Amino. That's it. Not even protein. How many brands today like launch like 10 SKUs wide, 20 SKUs wide? We launched with 2. Why? Because we couldn't fucking even afford protein. Like, that was all we had. And we literally just like built this thing brick by brick, just trying to like use like whatever like kind of sales we had to kind of fund the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And like, boom, fast forward a few years, here we are. And to see, how people have really, supported us and gotten involved, and how we were able to actually get some of these license deals and stuff done, which is a whole other story. I mean, dude, it's been the most humbling, few years of my life. And, proud to say and truly believe that we're just getting started.
Well put.
Awesome.
The
newsflash about the DMAA and C4, that like ruined, it's like saying God is dead or something like that. Like, seriously, C4 and DMAA? Didn't even know that.
I think the first, so you gotta remember, guys, Cellucor, like a lot of brands, even today, they get their start kind of with the not totally compliant products, right? That's just how it is. And then as they get bigger, they kind of, like Cellucor got started with pro hormones. And pretty badass. Well, they actually predate a lot of my supplement usage, frankly. So I wasn't even there for a lot of it. But I mean, like P6 Black was, I think, even if you like go down to the rabbit hole of the forums, P6 Black was probably regarded as one of the most hardcore pro hormones. It was 19 Nor. It was like the 1T and a bold precursor. I mean, it was legit. But then, of course, they wanted to kind of start playing on the straight and narrow and kind of change things around. It wasn't just them. The industry shifted away from that. But it's pretty funny, like, Cellucor, to see what it is today. They actually got the roots, their start there.
That's crazy. I was just actually Googling it. I saw that there was a lawsuit against C4 Extreme DMAA. It's insane.
Well, that's what happens, right? I think, like, the companies now, there's 2 types of brands, I think, in the industry. And there's the brands that are on the radar and the brands that aren't on the radar. And I think, like, in the U.S., specifically to the U.S., okay, like, regulations aren't really clear about what ingredients you can use or can't use. And my God, it's a moving target. It changes every freaking day.
Right.
And, I'm sure Robbie will agree with me. Like, that sucks because, like, you want to know that you're pushing the envelope, but you also want to know that you're playing by the rules. And, what happens in the U.S. is if on a whim the world decides an ingredient is not allowed, A, you got to pull all your products back, and B, in come the lawsuits because that's America. So. But yeah, C4, I think the first Cellucor product with DMAA was M5, actually.
Interesting. Oh,
yeah.
Didn't even know that. That's crazy. So did you guys, when you started, I remember, by the way, I ran into Ghost first time. I think I saw Christian Guzman or Max Tuning, one of these dudes bringing this up. Was that an important part of bringing the brand up? Like when you had your origin, I mean, obviously everything changes as you go when you start this thing and it grows and it changes. But when you and Ryan sat down, you said, hey, how the hell do we start this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Was Christian and Max Tuning, like, this is how we start, this is how we get the first sales out, this is how we get the first brand awareness out? Was that really a big part of the beginning?
No, it was actually more about, and as maybe sounds cheesy or funny to say, it was more about, hey, like, if we're going to do this, like, we're going to leave our great jobs and all that, like, we want to do this with our friends. And like, look, I met Christian because Christian was actually a Cellucor affiliate, not athlete.
Right. I remember.
Affiliate.
Yeah, I remember.
And in 2013, I was a head of marketing at Cellucor. And I'm like, man, who's this Christian Guzman guy? He's killing it for affiliate sales. But that was kind of a different department than marketing at Cellucor. And so I call him up and I'm like, just catching up with him over the phone, meeting him for the first time. I'm like, yo, man, you're down in Sugar Land. Cellucor is up the road an hour and a half, 2 hours in College Station. Like, those guys must be at your gym all the time. And you know what he said to me? He goes, I've never met anyone from Cellucor.
It's crazy.
So you know what I did? Christian, I'm booking a flight. I'll see you tomorrow. Right. And that's how we became friends. And, Christian ends up, leaving that company and wasn't sure what he wanted to do and whatever around, this is like 3 years later, right? We're starting Ghost and it kind of just made sense. Like, hey, we want to go to bat with our friends. Like, I'd met Raymond Carrito, the online coach, because I did an interview with bodyline.com back in 2013. They wanted me to work out for it. So I was like, I got to get in sick shape. So Raymond, I got introduced to him. He helped me with my diet and training plan and boom, he became a good friend. Max Tuning was a friend of Christian's. He got introduced to me. Like, that's how it was literally just a group of friends. And the fact that it's blown up the way it has, I mean, look, I couldn't be happier for Christian. Today's Alpha Elite's sixth birthday. Couldn't be happier and more proud of what he's built. But literally, Ghost is just, if you can imagine going to the gym with your boys and you're talking about subs and you're training and egging each other on, all we've ever wanted to do is create that kind of fun at scale. That's all we wanted to do.
Right. Yeah, no, it worked out. I remember, I think from a lifestyle perspective, you mentioned that it became totally overused and abused, the term itself. And it's interesting the way that you actually outlined what you meant by lifestyle, which is totally not what people say lifestyle today, lifestyle brand, and they actually mean. I think today it's more, way less deep, I would say. Right?
It's actually even more shallow than that. Look, Ghost is a real word. It's not a made up word. There's no numbers or weird things in it. So when you want to think about, okay, it's really important to me. This is good brand advice for anyone out there. It's really important to me that you have the same hashtag, website, whatever, across all platforms. So you start thinking about you're not going to get ghost.com. You're not going to get @ghost. So you start thinking about what that could be. I am Ghost. We are Ghost. What is it, right? So we actually landed on Ghost Lifestyle as almost just accident / process of elimination. That was never the plan, And again, that whole idea, Ryan and I, every Saturday night of the Olympia, which hopefully will be back one of these years, we throw a big party in Vegas. And in 2012, 2013, we had that annual party, and there's a lot of the big who's who, the Steve Cooks and all those guys at the time. Everyone was, came and hung out. And every time there was a picture taken, they'd all hide their drinks. And I was all watching this. I'm like, this is so fucked up. Don't they realize they would be so much more relatable if they just shared, hey, this is my life. This is what I'm doing. I'm this aspirational, inspirational person. I look great. I train hard. But I also have fun with my friends like a normal person. Right. That is literally the idea that sparked this. Right. Just something as simple as just, we want to keep it real. That's it.
Yeah.
Did you try and get ghost.com? I feel like you could.
Ghost.com is owned by Symantec, the antivirus
that's what software. I would think.
Because I know Grenade did it a while ago. Years ago, they were grenadefatburner.com, and then somehow, same with PhD Nutrition, they got phd.com, which I don't imagine being very easy. And Grenade got Grenade.
Shane, you got to remember, like I said, bro, we had no freaking money starting this thing. So
what about now?
So when you're on GoDaddy and you're like $12.99 lifestyle, that's the one, baby. That's look, some of the best things are that simple. The thing with Ghost, and I mean this sincerely, we don't have a master plan. I love when people compliment our marketing and stuff. It's dude, I don't even know what we're posting next week. And trust me, Sour Patch Kids, they give us grief. They give us hell for not having more of a plan. But that's just not who we are. we're literally just kind of doing this thing day by day, taking it in and seeing where it goes. And I think like maybe that's a lesson for people out there. It's like, the best laid plans never come to fruition. You just got to take it all in stride.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned, Dan, that y'all started with beans. Basically, you're taking the proceeds from one supplement sale and then funneling it into that. With that, you're able to do that because the supplement industry has a relatively low barrier for entry. So, you've got $5 or $10 you can get your initial run of product, sell through that, use that and turn that and get your next product run. And maybe you get a little profit and you can add another SKU. What are your thoughts? And it's often viewed as a negative that the industry has such a low barrier to entry, but it's worked well for, for Robbie getting the company started, for a bunch of other people. What are your thoughts on it? And should there be a higher barrier entry, or more restrictive, more nuanced, refined? What do you think?
Yeah, I know regulation is always going to be a controversial topic, but personally, I think some type of regulation or registration or that type of process, maybe even akin to Canada, would help weed out some of the stuff that we see. I don't know about you guys, but I get targeted for these ads on social media all the time. Like, start your brand today. It could be so easy. $5, no MOQs. Like that's not good. And what people don't realize, like when you hear small batch or craft, like if we're talking beers or booze all day, right? That sounds great, or food or whatever. But in this industry, like the testing requirements from like a CGMP FDA standpoint, the testing requirements of a batch of 100 are the same as a batch of 100,000. So like when you start to hear about like, I just would question, these guys getting started, like it's expensive. Like how are they doing the testing? How are they able to do things compliantly? How, are they able to meet MOQs for these licensed ingredients that they're supposedly putting in their products? So I think like there's a lot of questions about that. And like, look, being an entrepreneur, I don't ever want to discourage anybody from chasing their dreams or getting started. But I think there's a certain amount of responsibility that comes with starting a company that creates ingestible products. People are consuming your product. You need to make sure all the, precautions and care and responsibilities taken. And I think some barriers to entry would help weed out some folks that maybe just need more of an education and preparedness to do so.
Yeah, I think there's sort of a give and take here, right? On one end, you drive innovation, and people the lower barrier to entry exists in so many other industries. I mean, if I want to do a software, just as an example, I can just do a software. If I want to do an app and put it on the App Store, I can do an app, right? There's no regulation, there's no nothing. If my app is good, great. I think maybe the only difference is I could potentially kill someone with a supplement, or at least hurt his health, which is going to be a bit harder with an app. But I think beyond that, I'm generally speaking, I'm in favor, right, for the variety, right, and for people being able to do whatever they want. And I think in the world, what happens is that they are getting weeded out naturally. Mm-hmm. It's not like you can survive. Like I've been around this for the last few years, like all of you. Man, most don't survive. It's not like they come out, you see the ad or whatever, then after like a year, they're out. And I think that it did more good than bad, the fact that people can come out and do interesting things and push the envelope. I mean, think about Ghost. If it was very, very expensive to start, maybe you wouldn't have started, right? Maybe it would be...
Barriers to entry don't always have to be expensive either. Sometimes, like for example, it's not incredibly expensive to pursue an MPN in Canada, but it does take a little bit of time. Okay. And it takes a little bit of time because look, Canada mandates full disclosure, right. Which I think like I know that's another topic, but I think this group would generally all be in favor for mandated full disclosure is a good thing. Yeah. They have a very clear bank of these are the approved ingredients, and if it's not in there, you have to submit paperwork of why your ingredient should be allowed. I mean, it's not incredibly expensive. It does take a little bit of time.
So you're saying just seriousness fee, right? Like just seriousness fee. Yeah, I can see that. That sounds reasonable, actually.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be expensive. I mean, like, look, guys, like to design a brand, you can go on 99designs.com and pay $100 and get logos, and they would probably look better than half the stuff that ends up on Stack. You know what I mean? Like some of these guys.
I agree. Some of this stuff is disgusting.
But it's not hard. Yeah, it's not. It's not. It doesn't have to be expensive. That's the one thing I want to at least. It does not have to be expensive.
I don't think people would listen though, would they? I mean, even if you introduce those rules like they have in Canada and US, I mean,
No, but in the Canada,
if-
they listen. The only place people don't listen, and this is what always drives me nuts with the audience, that they think that the US FDA is harsh. The US is a fucking prostitution. Everybody
that's what
does whatever they want. Like, it's unfucking believable. You can put.
that's what I'm saying.
Tubs. I can. Robert, can I show this shit you sent me today? Like, this is hilarious. Robert, yeah, can I share this?
Yeah. Put it on there.
Look at this shit, by the way. Like, look at this shit. This is crazy. Share screen. Where is it? Which screen am I sharing? Look at this stuff. A second. Okay. Can you see this?
There we go. All right, add to stream.
Liberals' tears triggered. Oh my God.
Side effects do not include rioting, burning down buildings, and looting. And I was telling Robic earlier that I was.
Oh
shit.
TJ just deleted himself.
Yeah.
Or the all-knowing algorithm of Google that didn't like
he just got censored.
He got overly excited and he went looting.
That's my thing. That I feel like even if you introduce that rule, I mean, FDA already said don't use DMAA, don't use DMHA. Jesus Christ, how many people are still using it?
I think Quanon took me down. There's. I was telling Robic that I was disappointed. The flavor was. I was showing this to my son, and he was looking and said, "Pink lemonade? What the fuck?" I mean, like they're going with this abusive type thing. And I told him, no, they actually meant Biden's blood or something like that. That's the that was supposed to be the. Telling you, so people are freaking nuts. Anyway, in the US, they can do whatever they want. I think, but if you add regulation, it's very hard to do regulation in the US.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It's not even that people are not listening. It's just people are listening to driving to speed limit, right? Because there's police and it's very clear. They listen. People don't fucking listen here because it's so hard to do regulation that is actually statewide. It's just so broken, the system. Really, it's insane.
I agree. I think the most important thing is hopefully at some point we just have clear guidelines, because I think that's like I said, that the biggest challenge I have with the U.S. market versus other parts of the world is that it's not inherently clear like what ingredients or what this or like even some of the labeling stuff, like it's pretty amazing. If you really dive into the regs, it's not even clear. If you dive into the reg about labeling, even with like calories and stuff, in the FDA's examples, they've misordered by order of weight their own example labels. I mean, I think clear guidelines is a starting point, and then some of the other things look, maybe mandated full disclosure would help clean up some stuff too, because at least it gets rid of some of the MLM things we all like to shit on. So
right.
Look, I think there's other examples of in varying degrees of around the world of places where it's a little bit more regulated, I think a little bit more organized, and the US it is what it is right now.
Such we need the US. I think that it's a little bit more complicated than that, because the rest of the world, you're right. They have rules and regulations that pretty much stick. I mean, you go and check something like 2 or 3 years from now, and it's almost a guarantee that somewhere, I don't know, in France or Russia or whatever, the rules are going to be more or less the same. Now, in the United States, we just had, a government change, right? We went from Trump, we went to Biden, and then you had like a shitload of executive orders and stuff like that. So he's changing it to his tune. 4 years from now, we don't know what's going to happen, and it might flip to another thing. So I don't think that USA can be counted on for stability. I think the changes are going to be rampant, and they're going to be all the time. Today we like DMA, tomorrow we don't like DMA. I don't think DMA is coming back. But what I'm saying is that the changes can be extreme, and they can be almost unpredictable. And that's, for a supplement company owner, it's very, very hard, especially when it comes to something like stimulants, because we don't know what's going to happen.
But mostly if you're trying to stay legit, because seriously, I mean, since DMAA came out, I get more tubs that say DMAA. Nobody gives a shit. That's what I'm saying. It's
you can go easily into any supplement store, and you're gonna see a shitload of products with DMA.
I have 17 tubs
and
with DMA.
Nobody cares. But I know, for example, I think in Russia, if you have something like that is illegal, they literally will come and check. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no. The thing is, what people are missing is that there's the government has zero enforcement power. People don't understand. Like in the FDA, I think there's like 5 people 75 years old that are supposed to cover the fucking country. It just doesn't happen. So if they go after someone, is only if they're 100% no. They're gonna get it until the end. They're gonna find it, and it's big enough. There's no way to enforce.
Well,
that's why in the U.S. I think that a lot of times the rules are actually dictated by the retailers if you're in retail.
Yeah, exactly. Amazon or GNC or whatever.
If there is demand, there is demand. And the bottom line is there is demand and nobody gives a shit. And you know what Review Brothers just said, about research. I mean, that would be the right thing to do. Because let's face it, we don't know the long-term effects. We don't know the exact side effects. Everybody comes up with something else. The problem is that it's not about research because, look, for example, citrulline in the United States, you can go fucking crazy. You can go 20 grams of citrulline, absolutely no problem. We just got certificates to sell in Russia, and Russia allows only 1 gram of citrulline, which we know that it's underdosing the product, but that's their rule. Is it based on research? 100% no. Somebody decided that citrulline is only 1,000 milligram is allowed. I believe the carnitine allowance is either 250 milligram or 500 or something like that. So, it's nobody gives a fuck about research. At the end of the day, some fat fuck who, comes up with rules and regulations decides, you know what? This is going to be banned. This is going to be 2,000 milligram limitation. This one, you can go fucking 3,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just, basically the industry is all over the place.
You just need a way to enforce the and I think what you were saying is right. Like, so, and you find it out in the US, generally speaking, the government it's good for the army, I think, or something like that. Anything else, it's private sector ruled. Mm-hmm. Everything else. So if the private sector, let's say Amazon or GNC or Vitamin Shop, decide that they don't want this because there's a recommendation around it or against it, okay, they're going to enforce it. Expecting stuff from government, seriously, we should just, I mean, I've been only living here for 12 years. You guys should just give up. Whoever's been living here. There's nothing to expect for the government. If the government gave Amazon and Walmart to distribute vaccinations, you'll be getting like 50 of them by now. Each and every one of us. The government is dysfunctional. The US doesn't. That's why, by the way, the private sector is so great in the US, because there's no infrastructure from the public sector. That's it. So regulations on FDA, DMAA, whatever bullshit, it's never going to happen. I mean, if we put regulation, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
It's just there's no way to enforce it. And if the government wants to enforcement, then the state doesn't want to enforcement. The state wants to enforcement, the county doesn't want to enforcement. And then the neighborhood, and then your whatever HOA doesn't want to enforce it. What the fuck?
My HOA doesn't allow creatine, guys. Damn it.
There you go. God damn it. Disallowed it. So anyway, I think it's craziness. Yeah. So are you guys going down? I don't know if this is public information, but are you guys like long term going more D2C or what's forget where you started? Like now, where you're sitting now, and you like close your eyes 5 years into the future, whatever that thing looks like. Is that more D2C, at least in the US?
Well, I think having a firsthand relationship with your customers is critical. And I think that 10 years ago, brands didn't understand that because the model 10 years ago was, take any legacy brand, right? You have a brand has a distributor and then has a retailer and the retailer and I'm speaking in the US because obviously the European market, for example, is so fragmented. Like Lukasz and distribution there is absolutely critical. And we've learned that one kind of the hard way in some respects there. But still, I think in the US, that third party, fourth party relationship is just not good enough anymore because you have no idea really who you're selling to. You don't have any data. You don't really get feedback or any of those things. So for us, we've always positioned, ghostlife.com, our D2C as the premier place. That is the place to buy Ghost. And oh, by the way, you could also find us on shelf at GNC, which is great for people who need the instant gratification. They want to go in store and get a sample. They just already shop at GNC. And that's kind of been a good 1-2 punch. As far as where things are going, I think, as we continue to grow, look, we're going to, of course, continue to drive, D2C and prioritize that firsthand relationship. But, we have to look at the trends as far as like, well, what's happening on Amazon. Ghost is one of the only brands like right now at GNC, for example, we don't sell on Amazon directly. There's some resellers selling us for like $60-$70 for BCAs. I don't know who's buying that. Yeah, it's not us, right? It's not us at all. So, that's one thing you obviously have to watch. As far as adding additional retail in the US, that's obviously something that we want to address in the right way. Like, we've never been the brand that just wants to sell to, like, look, think about how brands make money, right? In the case of a retailer, a brand doesn't get paid by the end customer. The brand gets paid by the retailer, by the distributor. Right. So I think a lot of brands make that sale to the distributor and go, cool, like Lukasz bought all this product for me, cool, see ya, good luck, right? But that's not how we do things. We've always focused on the end retailer and then figured out the best way to get them the product. Right. So as we look at adding more retailers, it's like, okay, who do we want to work, like, who can we work with really well? Where can we do something special? Where do we know that we can bring customers into? And then from there, like, the retailer is just the facilitator, the distributor is just filling demand that we know we've created. Like, I think that speaks to how we view partnership versus maybe other companies. And that's probably why we've been much slower to expand other places than most brands or maybe most people would expect us to. So as far as what the world looks like in 5 years, like, DTC is going to continue to grow. Online shopping, whether it's Amazon or something else, is going to continue to grow. Yeah. And I think the rest of it, we got to take it in stride and see what comes.
Yeah, I just assumed you guys are not on Amazon because you can't. Some sort of agreement maybe with GNC or something like that. You can actually literally launch on Amazon tomorrow if you wanted.
Yeah, look, I'm going to say something that no one really knows, but we have not been under contract with GNC for 3 years.
Oh, really?
We've kept the brand exclusive there because it's made sense to do it. We haven't had a gun to our head. And in fact, GNC actually sells every brand they carry on GNC on Amazon except for Ghost, because that was our agreement with them, is that they can. Right. And the biggest reason is, like, I think a big goal for Ghost is, like, we want to decommoditize this market that is consistently trying to commoditize itself. Right. Like, to me, buying a protein or pre-workout is not the same as going to buy a carton of eggs. Right. People are very passionate and they're excited about these purchases. They share it with their friends. They share reviews, good, bad, or any other way. Like, this is not a commodity, but yet a lot of companies have treated it like a commodity. And I just think that you lose something when you're on Amazon and somebody can buy your brand bundled with their freaking toilet paper in Prime in one day. Now, I understand that there is some value in the fast shipping and expediting stuff, and so that's something that we have to overcome sometimes. But for us, that's the reason why we haven't been on Amazon yet.
No, and I think from a brand value perspective, it is a move. It's a big move. I think people, I agree with you, they underestimate what does that mean to the brand. Nike, for example, is not on Amazon, right?
Well, they just pulled out.
Yeah,
for a long time they were on Amazon. And I think that they were on Amazon because they wanted to fight counterfeits and they wanted to fight unauthorized resellers. But the problem is Amazon doesn't really help you with those things. Right. They don't care. They want to make the money, they want to make their sale. So I think, like, because Amazon didn't help Nike protect their brand, Nike said, "Oh, well, we don't need you." Right. I think look, Ghost isn't Nike, but from our perspective, like, if Amazon can help us in that way and get rid of the resellers and get rid of, then yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good home for us.
I think I don't think there's any doubt that the numbers are going to fly on Amazon. Like, the day you launch Ghost on Amazon, there's going to be a lot of traffic. I don't know. You guys are looking in to see.
TJ, let me tell you something, bro. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart, dude. If you've, like, for anything, like, have heard about the Ghost story, even just today, it's not about the money for us.
No, I understand.
It's all, and that's why for us, it's like, we know. And look, it's not, look, I'll be real. It's nice to go to bed at night knowing we got that lever to pull if we want it, right? Yeah. But it just, for us, I don't know. We've been trying to build something a little bit differently. And look, I'm never going to say never. I'm not, I would never say that. But I think, like, for us to do it would have to be the right way. And Amazon would have to be working with us in the right way to kind of help achieve some of those goals.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder what the search traffic on Ghost Protein is on Amazon.
And pre-workout, we're a top 5 term, and we don't even sell there.
No shit. Really? Ghost Legend is a top 5 term?
So we know, like, again, we're leaving the money on the table because it's not the right thing for us right now.
Right. Awesome. Okay, cool.
Rewinding things a bit, Dan. Earlier you were saying that innovation isn't always by leaps and bounds. Sometimes it is, inches or feet, like you're just scraping, and the innovations can be subtle. you guys were one of the first ones to do these official flavor collaborations with Chips Ahoy, Sour Patch Kids, Welch's Grape Juice, Warheads. Which that black cherry Warheads, I remember when I tasted that pre-workout for the first time when y'all released it with Legend, and it tasted better than the actual candy itself. I still don't know how the hell y'all pulled that off. But give us a little bit of insight into how, why, what gave you the idea to do that? Why not just come up with, instead of doing like the official Fruit Loops flavor, why not do loopy fruits like we've seen other brands do or something? So give us, expound on that if you can.
And this is a really cool final scoop topic from, maybe a few months ago as well. Mm-hmm. I tuned into the episode and heard you guys discussing it, and I was like, man, I'd love to jump in there. Yeah, look, as far as what gave us the idea, I don't know, man. Go to your grocery store. The whole thing is collaborative and licensed. Girl Scout cereal, Chips Ahoy ice cream. I mean, the whole this dairy creamer for coffee, like the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So again, like I think with Ghost, like we've never really looked at what goes on in the industry. We've always tried to be inspired about things that happen outside the industry. Like, look, I'm a big sneaker guy, and I mean, like Nike and sneaker brands are very collaborative in how they approach things. So for us, it's like, well, you go into a store and you see 100 watermelons on the wall or blue raz. Like, what is it? Everyone, does it taste good? Like, hey, Shane, like, give us a review on the flavor, like whatever. Well, take the review out of it. Like, if it has the official logo on the package, like that brand has vetted the flavor and approved this thing. So we're like, that would be amazing. And like, look, that was an idea that I had, back in like 2015, a year before launching the brand. And I started just banging the phones, like calling everybody I could, sending emails, LinkedIn messages, smoke signals, carrier pigeons, anything, right? Just trying to get into these brands. And I mean, dude, like we couldn't get a call back for like years. Like no one would give us the time of day. And then like, look, finally Warheads kind of gave us an opportunity, and that was the first ever, authentic license that we launched. I believe like was launched in the industry December 1st, 2016, with Warhead Sour Watermelon. And like, look, that was amazing. And the fact that they bet on us the way they did was really cool. And, as far as Mondelez and Sour Patch Kids and Swedish Fish, like, man, like I literally 3.5 years trying to get in any which way I could. And finally, it was like a LinkedIn message in the middle of the night to somebody I found there on their marketing licensing team. And, she wrote me back. We got on a call. And then that kind of started this dance for like another year of, we'd have a good conversation. I wouldn't hear from them for a month, and have a good conversation, hear from them for a month. And it was just, I don't know, like it's one reason I'm very passionate about how this industry is represented, just straight up. Because I think when we met all these big brands, I never had to explain Ghost. I never had to explain what we were trying to do, but I had to answer a lot of questions to defend the industry. The headlines that aren't good, or the veins on veins marketing, or the faux science, or the 500% more muscle mass, thank you Muscle Tech claims, right? Like that is what I had to answer for in those meetings. Because look, to the outside world, we're all the same. We're all one. And so that's why I'm always like so big on doing things the right way and trying to collaborate authentically and label the right way and not saying stupid stuff about your products. That's where that comes from, because I was in those meetings. And look, when you guys did your podcast, you were talking about, I think like you guys were talking about the dollars it must cost, or just trying to kind of come up with some of that. So I'll tell you straight up, when we have these things, you think about like Warheads, you think about Chips Ahoy, you think about Sour Patch Kids. Like, I think it's fair to say the world, generally speaking, is going a little healthier nowadays, right? Generally speaking, the world is like, oh, well, want to be fit and healthy, low sugar, keto, this, high protein, that. And so I think like some of these big candy or cookie brands are looking at new ways to grow, new ways to innovate, and frankly, new ways to make money. So what could be better than a brand that comes along and says, hey, look, I can get you into the health and wellness, into the active lifestyle world, but I can do it in a way that's authentic to you, because it's my name that's big on the tub, not your name. Your name is there to bring the flavor expertise, right? So it's going to be, you're trusting in Ghost for the protein, the quality, the transparency, but then it's Chips Ahoy on the flavor perspective. And oh yeah, I can bring at least, GNC 3,000 more stores that you've never had any sales in, or you've never talked to that customer before. Chips Ahoy, how are you marketing to the healthy customers right now? They're not. But we can kind of help you get in front of those customers in between indulgences, right? And we can do it in a way that's still healthy, that still delivers great protein and stuff, but it also delivers a true to cookie experience in a lot of ways. GNC sends out pro boxes once a quarter like, tens of thousands of these, like, sample boxes. Lift Box does all these things, right? We've actually done that and put actual little candy, like trick or treat, Halloween sized bags of candy alongside a sample of our product and a bounce back. Like, if you're these big candy companies, you never had that opportunity before. So what's really funny to step back, and it's always really humbling, okay? The money that we pay them, these brands all, and it depends on the brand, they all get a small percent of like the sales that go. That's how this works. It's not a lot of upfront money. Again, guys, I told you when we started this thing, we had no freaking money. We couldn't even afford protein. So I definitely didn't have to write a big check for this. But they get a small percent. But you think about it, even if like you're thinking it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, okay? Let's just pretend that's what it is. Mondelez, like the makers of Sour Patch Kids, is a multi-billion-dollar company. The entire business of Ghost is a freaking rounding error to these guys. They do not care at all about our entire business, much less the money generated from licensing. It is all about the association. It's all about the marketing. It's all about just the people talking and thinking about their product and driving. It's just cool. It's new. It is completely incremental to what they do in their daily business.
But then on that point, sorry for cutting you. Cool. But I'm assuming that when you guys reached out to Post or to whoever, I mean, like 100 supplement companies before came, right? I think that's the thing. It's not the money. I fully agree. It's a rounding error on the cereal, right? Like, who the fuck cares? And I totally understand the angle of, hey, I get my name on something that's not considered garbage food. Totally get that. But I'm just assuming that when you guys picked up the phone and called whoever brand licensing, Galambia did it like 100 times. I'm assuming. I'm just assuming.
Look, man. I don't want to say the wrong thing here, but here's what I'll say. Okay?
That's what 100% of these topics are the wrong thing here.
Here's some really funny, never before heard ghost history. Okay. At my previous company, they thought the idea was stupid.
Really?
And when I met with bodybuilding.com with the idea of Ghost, because look, I had a lot of friends at bodybuilding.com. The old CEO is a good friend of mine, and then he left. And when I met with bodybuilding.com, I have some stuff that would be funny to even show you to prove this. But we actually initially pitched Ghost to bodybuilding.com as like an exclusive, because I was like, man, they can help us with the channel and the behind the scenes content. This makes sense. BBCom rejected us. Straight up. Ghost, they rejected us, right? And if you ever wonder why Ghost will never sell on BBCom and is still not there, that's why, baby. But still, they rejected us, and they said that they didn't believe in the idea of the collaborations, and they thought we'd never be able to get them. GNC, when they heard the idea for the collaborations at the time, they said, oh yeah, we thought about it, but we don't think people will value them. So I don't know.
Wow.
Honestly, I look at TJ. I mean this, okay? I do not think we are that smart. I think the collaboration thing was obvious. And I got to be real. I have no idea how Ghost was the first. How the hell was this little tiny brand the first one to ever do this?
I actually think sorry to cut you off, but I think it's actually a very easy explanation. When people found out that you're going to be, our guest, and a lot of people expected for some reason, and I got a few messages about it that, for example, like what we do, Apollon Nutrition, is the exact opposite of Ghost, which I actually disagree to an extent, but this is not about that. And the reason why is because TJ said something about, that probably other companies came up with the ideas, because TJ thinks outside the box, and he thinks, more than just supplements. He's a businessman. He's successful, and this is for him.
Sexy also.
Sexy, successful, and apparently he doesn't know even whose sister he's fucking. But the problem is that, but the problem is that I fully agree that you are guys innovative, and Shane typically asks us questions at the end of the podcast. And few times I had to answer actually questions about my opinion of Ghost. And I always said the same thing, that you guys are extremely innovative because you take a chance and you do something that others don't. And for that, I have utmost respect for you, because I think that's the whole point. And I can relate, because I think we were the first company who did over 400 milligrams of caffeine in a pre-workout. And everybody was saying that, it's crazy, it's irresponsible, it's stupid, even though they didn't have any, any concrete data to prove that it's that it's dangerous or stupid or bad. Right now, 400, 500 milligram of caffeine in a pre-workout is pretty much standard, so to speak. I think you are very innovative, and I think that you're coming up with these ideas that outside the box, and I think that's what helps, what makes your brand so unique. And I said it numerous times, I fully agreed with the fact that you won, brand of the year, specifically from Stack, because the rest I actually don't pay attention to too much. I don't take them seriously, but I think you're innovative, and I think it also, the testament to that is the fact that so many companies these days, let's face it, copying you. I mean, truth of the matter is Olympus Labs, Lifestyle. It's a fucking copycat of what you guys do.
Are they still around?
Unfortunately. But probably not for long, unless they steal another idea and probably hang on for another 3 months. But the thing is that you obviously doing something that not many companies, because if you take the supplement industry as a whole, it's been the same for decades now. Nobody's thinking outside the box. Everybody's sticking to the same formula. Right now, people are willing to take a little bit more chance than before. But other than that, I mean, it's just it's a more or less same formula, more or less same flavors. Like TJ said, the company that we discussed, that they came up with something edgy in terms of a pre-workout, but fucking raspberry lemonade, come on. I mean, raspberry lemonade, grape, and all that is something that everybody does. You came up with something that is very, very unique to the market, and
thank you, man.
And I told you this before, even when you and I had a conversation. There are people that don't like your brand.
I know. But if everybody likes
but
you,
it doesn't. It doesn't matter. There are people that don't like my brand. There are people that don't like me, or people that don't like you. At the end of the day, none of it is matter, because your success speaks for itself. You started, like you said, with 2 products. I started with 2 products too. And today your company is among the top ones, easily among the top ones on the market. So I think it's irrelevant. And the fact that you, like you said, it took you 2 or 3 years to get those collaborations. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that for the company that you do collaboration with, licensing fee or whatever it is probably like pocket change. They don't even feel it. Because, in comparison, Ghost is a tiny company compared to those multi-billion-dollar companies, but it's still something that haven't been done. And right now, I'm pretty sure that every other fucking supplement company will try and pull that off too.
But that's what I was going to ask, Dan. So let's assume that. So I think your background story was.
I could ask you a question though, TJ. When you said you wonder whether or not other companies have asked, a lot.
They asked.
So some maybe not the same brands as Dan did, but I knew of 2 that had done it before, or maybe 3, and they were rejected. But I think the trick. Not the trick, but the game with Dan is that he's one of the few that play the long game. A lot of the guys that I know that asked and were rejected, there was 3 that were done. Well, they like he said, we're coming out with formula in 3 months. Let's get a flavor collab. So they ask him, give him a week. Fuck, they didn't answer. Let's put it into production.
Okay, got it.
And I know of a giant company in the UK who tried to pair with someone. They got the conversation rolling. 6 months go by. They said, "Fuck it, you're moving too slow," so they went and did it without them.
Right.
So
those industries move at completely different speeds. Sports nutrition. I imagine completely different speeds.
Right.
I imagine a lot of them just don't want to play, and they don't have the freedom to, I guess, make the product sit on the stock and all that shit. So I imagine it's tricky.
And look, guys, just to shit on myself for a minute too. Back to the story about us launching with 2 products or 2 flavors. Do you guys, Shane or Rob, do you remember what the 2 flavors were for Ghost when we launched?
Punch and Blue Raz?
Yeah, that is the least Ghost thing of all time. Yeah. But look, that's what I mean. Like it's literally been, there was never a master plan, and there's still not. It's literally been a brick by brick thing. So like Robbie, thank you for the massive compliment, man. I think, look, I just when I zoom out, to me that this is such an obvious concept. And it's the most humbling and probably proud thing that I've ever done to be able to bring that to the industry. And I'm happy to see other brands start to do licensing as well, provided that they're brands that please treat like the collab with some seriousness and treat it well. When you saw a brand who was trying to do some Ghost stuff and try to pull off licenses and then they failed. Like, that's not just a bad look for them. That's a bad look for the concept of licensing and sports nutrition. And that's like the one thing, again, I've said it earlier in the show, but it's really important to me to lead by example and represent this industry well, because it really only takes a couple bad apples to bring this whole thing down. You've seen it happen a few times over the last decade or so.
But Dan, after you guys sort of broke through with the brand collabs, right? So now these guys at Post or whoever did a collab with the brand with the flavors, they sort of have a process in mind now, right? So they have a template because they've done it with Ghost. So should I assume like 5 more doing whatever collabs?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, you saw, like, look, I mean, look, I'm really good friends with some of the people over at Dymatize. And, Ben Benedict, right, the head of sales over there, he and I were both at Cellucor for a number of years. Great freaking dude. He was kind of joking that in his pitch deck, granted, Dymatize
it's same
is
company,
owned by Post,
right? Yeah.
but he's like, Dan, like, straight up, there's a lot of ghosts in our pitch deck. Like, I'm proud of that. That's fine. I don't like, bro. It's all about, like, that's good competition. That's somebody representing the industry well. Right. Like, like GNC's doing Girl Scouts. They're doing Jolly Rancher. I'd fully expect there to be more, because, guys, like, we can't collaborate with everybody. We don't want it. Like, we don't even want it, right? And honestly, I'll tell you straight up, like, in the world of cookies, like, Mondelez and the family of cookies is the only company that we can collaborate with there, because we're all in with those guys, like Chips Ahoy, Nutter Butter, and they make some other good cookies too, which who knows, maybe down the road. So, like, look, it's the whole licensing and collaboration thing. Like, our goal was to bring authenticity, our goal was to bring legitimacy, and our goal was to bring fun. Again, like, just back, like, because like, if you're super serious and you're 8 weeks out or something like that, you're probably not going to be drinking a protein powder with cookies in it. All right, this is not for you. But I think for most consumers to have a high quality, fully disclosed, transparent protein, like, but then there's a couple grams of cookie in there to help bring the flavor and nostalgia and experience. Like, that's a win-win, and that's kind of what we're all about. Ghost is all about balance.
Yeah, I think from a target audience, it's very clear what state of mind the audience is supposed to be in to take Ghost, right? Or what type of audience it is. A lot of my followers on my channel are not Ghost people, right? Because they obviously they mix DMAA in their cookies, so it's a very different breed. But I totally see where they're coming from, and that's interesting. No, I think so. International today is what? Europe? Where's international today?
Yeah, so Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK. We're in Europe, not super deep, but we are throughout Europe as well. We're in China.
China. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. We actually have a team. Like, if you look at Ghost up, like, on WeChat or something, like, we actually have a team translating a lot of our content into Mandarin Chinese, and we sell on Taobao and Dingpin. So,
that's cool.
It's again slow. We get a lot of requests every day to enter this country or that country, but I always want to know, like, what we're able to do that's unique or special, or why is it going to work. It's not all about the sale, right? It's all about the follow through. For us. So.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. While we're on the topic of flavor collaborations, and I'll say this for all the people tuning in on the live stream, any questions you have for Dan or the panel, we'll get to all of those. We're just we're bombarding Dan with a barrage of questions. So, but post up any questions or comments you have about Ghost or anything else you want to know about it, and we will answer everything while we're on.
I see the sour strips. Yeah, I see the sour strips comment. Maybe, like, I'm so proud of Max. Tuning, one of our ambassadors, he created a candy company, not a functional candy company, just a straight up candy company, because he likes it. And, like, look, it's good, and he's grown it. I don't think there's enough appreciation for what he's been able to pull off, getting in Target in such a short amount of time. So like, look, obviously Max is a really good friend, and that company's close to home. So who knows? Stay tuned.
Swedish fish flavor, amazing.
If you watch our channel, it's my favorite. So. There you go. It's 100% my favorite flavor. So,
one thing that I am curious about. Okay, so you guys launched an energy drink, and Christian also has launched his 3D energy drink. How does that work? Considering he's doing business with y'all. Yep. I don't know if he's officially part of the company or just as like an influencer thing. I don't need to know any of that. And if you don't, we need to discuss that. But how do you juggle that as the owner of a company that's pushing an energy drink, and one of the people that is working for your brand in some capacity goes and launches their own product?
Yeah, look, great question. And look, Christian is an ambassador, longtime family member. That's it. Doesn't own Ghost or anything, but there's been some rumors about that in the past. Look, Christian's better half, if I may, Heidi Summers, Buff Bunny, has a big women's apparel brand, Buff Bunny Apparel. Mm-hmm. Christian's bread and butter is Alpha Lead Apparel. It's a big market out there. It's a big world. And I think that, 3D Energy is a great product. It attacks a little bit different price point. Doesn't have necessarily the efficacy or the collabs that we do. It's just a little bit different. I think that's a great product. And I also think Ghost Energy is a great product. I think that, we don't really have to worry about competing against each other until we're the last two in the cooler and we got Monster, Red Bull, and Bang to go through before we even have to care, right? It's a big market. So I know that people have asked that question, and look, we root for 3D, and look, half of our influencer team drinks 3D and they drink Ghost too. It's all good. We're really supportive. So
yeah, perfect.
I was gonna ask about that because last year was the first year non-consecutively that there wasn't a Guzman legend. Because every year prior you had one, but last year you missed. And Ghost Energy launched around the time that there was meant to be.
I love that people care this much. It actually is pretty cool. Look, here's the deal. I'll tell you straight up. Here's the deal. Okay. We on the channel we teased multiple products for the next CG launch, including a legend concept that is a little more advanced. I'm not going to say hardcore, but it's a little more advanced, and it may turn into a higher stim version of Legend, after that collab. The reason we didn't launch it is because we were trying to time the launch with one of the craziest construction projects I've ever seen, which is what he's building in Alpha Land in Texas. So he's building this massive thing, and we're trying to time the launch with that, and so that's kind of why it's been pushed back. But yeah, it's three. We have a legend for him. We already teased a protein that we're doing for him, inspired by his mom's lemon cake, and we have a non-stim kind of focusing product just because he's working 24/7. So it's something that we made for him that he's been taking that we're going to roll out into that launch too. But we're waiting for the timing of that open.
That explains it. Yeah.
Good point, Zandandita. The irony of bodybuilding not wanting to do collabs is now that they are doing all the hosted stuff. I've heard mixed things. I haven't tried any of it myself. I've heard mixed things about their
good flavors, but generic. Good flavors.
Yeah, that's my issue with a lot of these collabs. Same with the Mars ones in the UK. I had the bodybuilding.com ones, and I wasn't brought up on Twinkies or cupcakes, but I bought Twinkies and cupcakes, imported them specifically to try alongside this protein powder. And I even gave them to my wife. You couldn't tell the difference between a regular vanilla and. But
honestly, same thing with the ISO 100, the cocoa pebbles and the whatever it's called, fruit something.
Nah, see, I disagree with that one. I think those ones actually taste closer to the cereal than a chocolate and then a fruity cereal. I actually can liken that to the cereal.
Okay, I didn't.
These ones
didn't feel it.
These ones are way more generic.
That's going to be the problem. That's the challenge. That's one of my fears. Okay, my fears with licensing, a lot like lifestyle, is that if it becomes so broad and so common, if people don't take the same amount of time, care, and energy that we have to put into these licenses to execute them as authentically as possible, does it kind of cheapen the concept long term? I don't know. I'm not smart enough to know that. We work really closely with all of our partners where I had to sign my life away working on Swedish fish, all the different flavors that go into creating a Swedish fish, it's pretty cool process. It's Sonic cherry lime, right? Cherry lime, probably one of the most common flavors in this industry. But for us to kind of, work with them and say, this is the exact cherry, this is the ratio of lime to cherry that they use. And it's a really cool process, that we've worked on. And if other brands aren't taking that amount of time and attention to detail, then, that's a bummer. So
some do, but yeah, those bodybuilding.com ones feel like it's, I haven't tried the latest one, but that cupcakes one, I don't know. It's kind of like the Miles ones. They just feel like generic kind of chocolate.
Not to say anything controversial, but licensing is a smaller world than supplements, and I know for a fact that some of these collaborations that you've seen or that you may see in the near future, they've been shopping for a partner for years. So I'm not going to say Hostess came across my desk and I said no, but
Can you give us a little bit of insight into how the actual flavor collaboration works? So, does the flavor chemist from the Swedish fish company come to your manufacturer and sit down with the flavor guys there and say, "Hey, this is what we're doing"? How does that back and forth go?
It's an individual process depending on which company, which is so cool. Everyone works differently. Everyone gets a little bit more involved. In the case of, like, for example, Swedish Fish, again, we had their entire flavor chem team on the line with me and my flavor scientist, Mike Wilkie, my head of product development, talking about like all the different flavor constituents and compounds and kind of different notes and the balancing of them. And then we kind of put that together in our lab and there we go. In the case of, warheads, they were a little bit more like, Dan, this is our acid profile, right? There's 3 types of acid that go into a flavor system, usually tartaric because they're punched in the face, your malic and your citric with different kind of flavor curves or how they last on the tongue. And just here's what makes a warhead. And then from there, we kind of just ran with it. So it all really depends. Look, Chips Ahoy was super involved in that because you're trying to liquefy a cookie. So which way do you go? Do you want it to just go liquid cookie in a blender, or the concept we went with is more of like a milk and cookies type of concept? So they were really involved to figure out how to execute that. But look, it's a lot of fun. I mean, if I could go back and tell my 12-year-old self, like, dude, you're going to be buying tons and tons and tons of cookies when you grow up, like, that's pretty cool. And look, that's what this is all about, right? Like, I mean, yeah. I think, Shane's heard me say this before, but the question that I always ask people is like, do you remember the first time you took pre-workout? Right? Like, TJ, what was the first pre-workout you ever took?
Actually, Jack 3D. Yeah.
What was the flavor?
Fuck knows. Did you ever see my reviews? Fuck flavors, Dan.
I know, but my point is most people remember not only just the product, but they remember like everything about that experience because it was so much fun. And they were like for me, it was VPX, NO shotgun, black cherry, and I took it outside the gym, sitting in my car because I didn't want my boys to know I was taking anything. Okay, but that fun, like that experience, right? Like if we can bring that back every time somebody takes Ghost, then that's a huge win. That's all we're trying to do. You don't need a pre-workout or a protein or anything to have a good workout or to get results. But we're all here today because we believe they definitely enhance it and make the experience better and more fun and more productive, right? That's why we're all here. Absolutely. So I think like that's kind of the concept that drives a lot of what we do.
That's awesome. So what pisses you off, Dan? You sound like you not, at least you come across in this conversation like a priest. Like,
well, no, I think
everybody's happy. Competition. What pisses you off? Like, give me the pisses you off shit.
Industry pet peeves. Yeah,
industry pet peeves. Damn, I really have a good answer for this, but I'm going to make you wait a couple months to see it because I already. I don't. Shane, you and I had a conversation at the end of the Stack podcast we just did, and I said I got a surprise for you this year, and it plays on an industry pet peeve. That's all I'll say. But as far as like, look, we're definitely no priests, right? We talked to several times, even just about like, kind of being out late at the clubs or like whatever that came up with the idea, work hard, play hard. But for me, I think the couple things that obviously piss me off, like number one, copycatting pisses me off because it's just like, there's no reason for it, right? This is such a big industry and big world out there. Go and be creative. Like that obviously is something that pisses me off to varying degrees. Cause then there's people who are going to like build a brand that maybe like use some of the things that they like about a certain company, then they go kind of do it their own way. That's great. Like if any of that even comes back to Ghost, like I'm humbled to think so. But obviously when they're trying to confuse people or start shit or whatever, like to me, it's just so unnecessary and stupid. Like how old are we? Right. And it's going to be short lived. Like it's never going to last. So I've tried to kind of chill out about that as I've kind of gotten older. I think as far as, I don't know, it pisses me off, but I think like one thing, which is a fun conversation to have with you guys, is to kind of talk about even the hype marketing, 2021 hype marketing, like all that, right? It's pretty funny. And Shane and I hit on this on our podcast too, but like, I don't know, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if you've ever heard me or Ghost say like, this is the best ever. Mm-hmm. Like this pre-workout.
You lived up to Price Blow.
Well, like, look, we can talk about that. We can talk about that one.
Well, yeah, that's a question somebody put up, so we can address that in a minute. We'll get to that. Yeah, in a second.
I'll get to that one in a minute. But like from our perspective, like we don't really hype our own products.
Right.
If anything, we drop so many products, we don't even have time to hype them because by the second one's out, we're like trying to talk about just announce that the next one's coming.
Well, like we're launching. I don't remember you you personally or Ryan hyping.
But what you see though, you see all these other brands out there.
Oh
like
yeah. Oh my God. Game changer. Game changer.
Like, we don't,
I'm still waiting for that King of pre-workouts.
Yeah, but
you saw you saw that I ordered that. That's about 2 weeks later. They still haven't shipped it to me.
King of pre-workouts, line and all. Like, dude, like that's just like for us. Like, we're just trying to create cool shit, and we hope people like it. And I will admit this. You go on YouTube and you type in Ghost reviews, and half the reviews you see the guys are dressed like decked out in Ghost, and they got their shaker and stuff, and like, dude, I don't know what we did for people to be so passionate. I am so thankful and so humbled. It is freaking cool, like that people are that passionate. But like, those aren't sponsored. I mean, that's just people love our gear and they like the products. They like the whole thing. It's more than just a pre-workout.
Right.
And so, I mean, from the hype perspective, it's a double-edged sword. And trust me when I say that, because like there's all the pressure in the world when we go and we launch something and we know the expectations are going to be 10x what other brands are. And hopefully that's why you also see our attitude, like in the case of the energy drinks. It's like I think 80% of people love them, 20% of people hate them. But we listened to the 20%. We went out there, we made some quick changes. Like, I mean, is there another company out there that listens to feedback and then incorporates it on the very next run? Like Ghost has done that several times because, again, we know we're not perfect. We don't act like we are. So I think that's one of the misconceptions with Ghost. Like, I'm so appreciative that people are excited, but it's really funny because I really don't even know what we do to create it. I'm not smart enough to know that,
No, but I think you nailed down in the sort of the essence of the brand and experience, right? It's not, and the experience is not drinking the pre-workout or the protein. The experience is, like you said, it's the hat, it's the style, it's what it means about me. It's Christian Guzman, it's Max, I'm cool, I'm young, I'm generation, whatever letter we attach to this shit right now. And being part of it, I think that's, like I see these guys, you probably ran into them, the guys from Campus Protein, the Beam guys. And I think actually, by the way, they're going after sort of, I mean, I hate using the term like a lifestyle thing, but they're not trying to copy anything, which I actually appreciate, different from Olympus Lifestyle or some shit like that. They're just creating something around be amazing, right? Like their own thing.
Yeah.
And I think that once you create an experience rather than, that's where it sticks, because flavors change, formulas change,
flavors,
everything, brand and affiliation. Not affiliation as an affiliate, like being affiliated with a thing. That's what sticks, right?
Look, we work really hard. So like a brand can never be everything to everybody. Mm-hmm. If you try, the second you try, you end up nothing.
Right.
Like, so, and that's really important. But we do work really hard to make it hard to not like Ghost. Like I say that I formulate for the 1% that actually understand the formulas, but we build the brand and the message and the flavors for the 99%.
Right.
And that's a balancing act that's unique to us, because I gotta say, I know this is not 100% true, but large majority, I think it's fair to say that a good formula in today's day and age just gets you a seat at the table.
True.
So the second that somebody says, "Oh, what makes you different? What's going to make your product successful?"
Right.
Oh, my formula, man.
Right.
Dude, your formula's on the side of the bottle. Somebody else can take that tomorrow. So what's going to make you unique? What's going to make people come back?
It drives me nuts, by the way, when I call people and they say, "Hey, I want you to take a look at my stuff," and I take a look and say, "Okay, so what's unique?" "Oh, we have a disclosed formula and it's really loaded, not like the other shit." I said, "What other shit? There's like a billion formulas out there."
Well, but I think, TJ, that brings basically to the same conversation that you and I had a couple of years ago when Apollon was just getting started, and you told me, I remember this because I took it very, very seriously. Yes, the formulas are there. Yes, maybe the flavor is there. A lot of good aspects can be there, but if there is no story, if there is no personality to the brand,
that's it.
Whether it's a lifestyle that you created, for example, with Ghost, or Be Amazing. I agree. Beam is absolutely, actually one of my favorite companies right now, and but they
create experiences, by the way.
They try to create
experiences. Even the box that they ship,
and they have the story. They're very nice people. But I think the whole thing, how this podcast started was. Since we are on the subject, and I'm pretty sure everybody's been waiting for this, but, the whole started with TJ all of a sudden decided that, he wants to wake up, and he decided to post something on Instagram, which I think that was a little bit based on, on attack on Ghost. I think was misinterpreted slightly.
Wasn't on Ghost at all.
Yeah, no. I mean the comments, not you, not you.
Comments,
the comments. I think that people took it in a wrong context because I know TJ for a number of years, and we talk shit about certain companies and certain people. That goes without saying. But we never really talk shit about Ghost or anything like that. So I think it was taken a little bit out of context.
Yeah.
But what you said, people are saying positive things about Ghost, right, Dan? And the comments, 80%, like you said, are positive and stuff like that. You're paying attention to the 20%, and I couldn't agree with it more. I think that's absolutely amazing. However, I think that. And again, I'm not accusing you of anything or anything like that. I'm just putting everything.
Wow, the preparation. What are you going to say about his mother now?
I think that the whole point comes down to with the question that somebody asked about price plow and fitness
we'll put it up
informant.
now. There we go.
Yeah. Can I think that I personally despise price plow. I'm not even gonna deny it. I absolutely can fucking stand that channel. And to me.
That was you're watching it. There's 100 views per video. Is that you?
They're definitely watching this, but I'm honored. But I think here's the thing. I actually, after interacting with you, talking to you about soccer and different things, we actually get along fine, and I think we have a mutual respect for each other. Just like everybody else in this group has nothing but respect for you and for your brand and for your accomplishment. My personal opinion, and again, it's your company, that. Price plow, based on comments that were on TJ's post, I think that price plow is almost like this little kind of a negative aspect associated with Ghost, because let's face it, I think Ben is kissing your ass more than he used to kiss Mark Glazer's ass. If I think about it, I mean, he's like a fucking whore who just dumped one boyfriend for another boyfriend.
Wow.
I mean, literally, the only thing I can picture is him sucking your dick. That's the only thing I can do. And
please don't picture that.
That's what it. I can't see Ben having a girlfriend because I think he's so obsessed with you. Other than that, there is nothing else. I think
keep it professional.
We are professional.
All right, here looking for a software that can erase my memory from the visual right now.
Yeah. Does anyone have a contact at the Black?
Yeah, exactly.
I think you have a lot of respect in the industry. I think your company has a lot of respect in the industry, and I think you have a tremendous following, actually very, very generic following, that you didn't go out and buy stuff and buy influencers and buy and pay people for a Ghost to become the company that it is today. And I think it's a great achievement in a very, very competitive market. I think that not saying that nobody should collaborate with price plow or anything like that. It comes off so fake that I think that the ass kissing is so bizarre and so apparent. Because, listen, I mean, I'm very outspoken, just like the rest of my friends here. Maybe I'm a little bit more aggressive. Yeah. I'll take that. But I'll tell you, behind the scenes, the text messages, and obviously, I talk to some companies and, and brand owners, they all feel the same. It's just that they're not willing to come out maybe and say it out loud. But I think that what brings negativity, because I'm not talking right now about your brand, but there is a certain brand that I know for a fact that is not great, say, on flavoring. But if you watch Price Plow and they say that it's the best tasting shit ever, I think that definitely backfires. I think it backfires on a brand itself, because why would a brand go and change its flavor or improve it like you did with your energy drink, because you clearly listen to the consumer? Why would anyone go and change anything where, Price Plow says that that's the best thing on the market? So basically, they were hyping up your energy drink. They didn't say one negative thing as far as I know, but there were those 20% that did. And you actually listened to those 20% and went out and tried, and I'm pretty sure succeeded, to make a better product. And again, that just goes out to show that you care about your consumer.
Okay, Robic, let Dan answer.
Well, look, there's a lot to unpack there. So I'll start. I'm gonna take the easy one first. Okay. So on the energy drink front, it wasn't just Price Plow or even like our friends, for example, or people that we know that gave us the great feedback. There was even some like just energy drink reviewers that we have no relationship with, that we've never met before because we were not an energy drink company, that reviewed this of the V1 and literally gave it like their top score ahead of a lot of other stuff. So that's just number one. But when we listened to the feedback about people saying, oh, it had like a little bit of a smell to it, we wanted to investigate and we wanted to see what was going on. And like, look, we very quickly found, hey, there's a technical reason this could be happening. Acetyl L-carnitine in a solution, when subject to different temperature, pressure, pH, like, time, okay, can disassociate, leaving you acetic acid and L-carnitine. You're not going to get the function of alcar, number one, and number two, acetic acid is the active compound in vinegar, which could give you the smell and maybe throw the flavor off. That in combination with thiamine, a vitamin that breaks down and contributes a brown color and a roasted note when it breaks down, can contribute to also some of the flavors going off. So no one's going to miss thiamine. Let's get it out there. Let's switch out alcar for Carnapure branding carnitine L-tartrate. Functionally, it's a little bit different, but I think it's a value add. The Carnapure trademark is a good one. There's tons of stability behind it. And by the way, we took the opportunity to upgrade the B vitamins to methylcobalamin and P5P. Which again, I think maybe this podcast will appreciate, but no one in the real world.
Yeah, Robert's all about that shit.
You know what I mean? Like no one else will appreciate that change, right? So look, but that's like that's we listen to all feedback, good and bad. But the bad stuff behind the scenes, we actually do a ton of testing. We probably do more third-party testing and like just like even like stability testing. Like wait till you guys see Pump V2. We literally worked on Pump V2 for over a year, this will be a big controversial one for another day. But let me tell you right now. Nobody's glycerol is more stable than the next guy. None of them. I tested them all for over a year. Glycersize, Hydromax, Glycer Pump, Pump 3D, none of them are stable. They're all the same. Just saying. Okay. We do all this stuff in the background. But we listen to the feedback. We want to improve and go forward. Now, what I just said about the background of Ghost versus the customer-facing Ghost is a good transition into kind of your bigger point, which is what is up with Price Plow and Fitness Informant and Ghost and like Stack. Like Shane gives us quite a bit of love as well on Stack. I'll attack the so much part of that question first.
I feel like it's a little bit different though because I'm not in any partnership whatsoever because you said you were. I'm not.
No. Yeah. It's actually funny. Like over the year, like we've actually, outside of the original Stacked Expo in like 2017, we actually never. Yeah. And I think we're actually really bad at even telling Shane or anyone what's coming. A lot of times, the guys watch our YouTube channel and then right from there, we don't even leak things. Like a lot of companies use these platforms as like a critical part of their launch strategy. And we simply we're kind of just going, we have our direction. And then a lot of them are writing about it because hopefully, humbly speaking, we try to do cool stuff that's worthy of being on the channels. So I think like that attacks us so much, like Price Plow or Fitness Informant, like we're just launching a lot of stuff. So you're going to see us on there probably a lot because we do have partnerships with them. So that attacks us so much part. But why do we have partnerships with these guys in the first place? Right. That's the real question. Like, what are they bringing to the table? Why do we even do this? Well, I think a lot of Ghost, if you look at like our website, you watch our YouTube channel, you watch the content that we put out there, even what I just said about acetyl L-carnitine breaking down, like you just don't hear Ghost talk a lot about the science or what we're doing behind the scenes. And I think that the reason is most of our customers don't necessarily understand it. When we post one of the videos where I'm breaking down a formula, you get like 50-50. People love it. And then other people like, dude, Dan makes me want to go to sleep when he's talking about this stuff. So we have to take that into consideration just about the type of content that we're putting out. And especially Price Plow, and this dates honestly, frankly, back to Robert's involvement with Price Plow, has, in my opinion, always done a good job at going kind of in depth with the articles and the write-ups, breaking down formulas and the clinicals and things like that. Look, that's just not content Ghost puts out. So it's not about partnering with these guys about reviews. It's about partnering with them on putting out content that Ghost just doesn't really create for ourselves. And the reason why I can say that I mean that, like wholeheartedly, if we want to just talk about data for a sec, Price Plow, humble, like love the guys, Fitness Informant, I love Ryan, but like their reach isn't like the reach is still growing. It's not some massive reach where that good review, like that's not what this is about, right? It's literally about partnering with them to create good content. That is not content that we put out ourselves. That's really what it comes down to.
Awesome.
So as far
as stop reviewing and just do formula breakdowns because the reviewing is where it becomes cringe. No, listen, I'm just telling you. Listen, I'm just like yourself. I'm a storyteller. I'm a marketing person. The fucking reviews are cringe. If you want to bring 5 scientists to break down a formula, probably there's better scientists than them. By the way, just saying. I don't give a shit. Just ask them to fucking stop reviewing because it's cringe, and your brand is not cringe.
It's good.
That's fucking cringe.
I think you know what the thing is that there is a serious difference, and I think that's where the disliking goes from, because if you look at it, the views that they get and stuff like that, it's not really that impressive. The problem is that and again, TJ is right. There is a difference between a review channel because it's authentic and it's in a review. And I think, like, again, going back from when Robert was involved with Price Plow, there was a scientific breakdown as to each and every ingredient.
Which puts me personally to sleep. But it was a scientific breakdown.
Yeah, but I understand this. There are people who actually want to hear that. And yes, you're right. There are people who are actually bored, but you can still put it in layman's terms where you can explain to people. Like if you watch TJ's reviews, nothing scientific over the top. You know, he's dreaming about somebody's sister apparently, and he's so proud of it. But I think that there is a difference between review. Like, listen, the reason
I agree.
There is a reason.
I want you guys to hear me loud and clear.
I just want to say
this is actually like good feedback, honestly, and something that I will think.
For example, Ryan, right? Ryan from Fitness Informant. Ryan and I had our differences. He actually posted a couple of times about Apollon without us paying him. We didn't pay him. He just posted. And I know for a fact that he actually, I don't know if you want to call it a review, or he talked about the product that he did not get paid. But he does get paid also for content, yet it's not really, so to speak, review. I think Gerhard does more reviews than actually Ryan. Ryan does like samples and he expresses his opinion about flavor or whatnot. The problem is then, and I'm being that serious, zero aggression, zero, like I'm going to behave for a change. So I'm going to say, I'm going to say this. I think that like you just talked about the product, like what changes you made with the energy drink. I think it's spot on. And you have, I don't know, what, 10 times the following that those guys have. I mean, you're definitely better looking than Ben. So I think that people would appreciate, it kind
Ryan's going to be mad that you said I'm better looking than him.
But it's the truth. It's the truth. I think that if they actually did get paid or, partner explaining different things about the brand, and the pros and cons, that definitely would serve more benefit. But the moment they cross the line and they start review and each and every review is positive, I think that's where it hurts the brand. Not them. I think the brand, because then the credibility of the brand definitely goes down the drain. I
think it's interesting, right? Because I know I've said this to Shane before. I would love in another life to kind of do the review thing, because especially knowing what I know now about the industry, I would have a lot of fun breaking a lot of this stuff down. And I mean, I'm happy to shout out good products. Like my cabinet is not just filled with ghosts. I have a lot of morphogen stuff. I've got I've got a lot of other good products in there. But then we don't make everything. I don't want to make everything, right? I think it's good. It's definitely good feedback as far as maybe the way some of this can come across, and some of that stuff I might not be aware of because I don't even really watch it all. So it's definitely fair feedback. I think it's probably hard, I would think, to be in a content creator role and want to and not speak badly about something which, even if it deserves it. And look, I agree with you that that's not a good look. I appreciate, although I don't ever agree with them, I appreciate when Ryan Buckeye and the Fitness Informant are like, you know what, marshmallow cereal milk didn't do it for me. He didn't really like it from Ghost. I'm like, dude, that's my second, my number 2 or number 3 favorite flavor. So I think he's crazy. But I appreciate that it didn't do it for him. And look, if you watch even the Ghost YouTube channel, I'm not a fruity cereal guy. I think we make it a lot of people love our fruity cereal milk. Not for me, not my thing.
And I agree with you, because the thing is, it's like the flavors, and that's the reason why I actually hate when somebody tests different flavors, because this flavor is good, this flavor is shit. Well, according to who? You? I mean, it's very very subjective, and we have flavors. We have a chocolate flavor that everybody likes. I really don't care for it too much because it's a personal thing. Does it make it good or bad? Am I right? Are you right? I don't know. But the thing is, it's very, very subjective. So I think the flavor testing, it's definitely like a very fine line. And again, that brings me to TJ. He reviews most of the flavors with his son. So you have somebody old as fuck like TJ, and then you have a younger generation. So you get a perspective from both sides, and I think it's amazing.
Wow, the insults! Oh my god.
Look, I definitely agree. I definitely agree that, like I said, like I think those guys probably have a hard role to play, and it's probably a balancing act. And maybe, like, look, if they watch this or hear this, maybe they can think about that a little bit, like how they can better balance it, right? Not everything has to be great, because if everything's great, nothing's great. It's kind of the point that you're making. And I don't look. I also I think a key to anything that Ghost has achieved is that, like, we never, like, you know how the artist always hates his own work kind of thing. Like, we never think we're the best at anything. We don't think we're always pushing ourselves, especially me and there's a lot of Ryans, but me and my CMO and co-founder Ryan, like, we actually joke sometimes, like, we don't ever compliment each other. We're always pushing each other to do more and think it's not good enough. We got to push it further. So, like, that's just kind of our culture at Ghost, is we always want to reach for the next thing and to grow and get better every day. I think in those roles, in the content creator roles, it's probably tough, because I'd imagine if they publicly say they don't like something, they probably have some of their brands that are maybe less secure about themselves reach out and freak out and want them, and I think, like, it's funny, like, Shane and I really became buddies back in like 2010, 2011, when he was just starting at Cellucor. And one of the first conversations we had is when I thanked him for a bad review of P6 Black. I said, hey, supplements are not the pro hormone. He would have loved that shit, but it was like kind of just but I think, like, no, seriously, because, like, look, supplements and flavors are a totally personal experience. Like, the clinical data can give you an idea of an expected result, but a wise man once said, labels are just labels. Okay. And I think
wise man.
but it's true though, right? I think, like, you create a product based on clinical research, combined with anecdotal feedback or anecdotal hypothesis. And that's how a kind of a product comes together. I call it the search and the sizzle, right? Some things, like, people are searching for some ingredients. They're in a lot of products. It's kind of the baseline. And then you go for the sizzle based on maybe new ingredients coming to market, partnerships with R&D teams or ingredient vendors, or just, like, kind of your hypothesis based on clinical data that you found out. Like, that's how it comes together. But the reality is, like, everybody's different. And I don't care what the paper says. It may do something to you differently than it does to me. Absolutely. You may think a flavor is great. I may hate it. Like, and if you can't own a brand or run a brand if you're not comfortable with that. And so I got to think, like, although I hear the feedback on Price Plow and FI, whatever, to some extent, loud and clear, I would wonder if they just have to make it maybe more clear to some of the other people that they partner with, like, guys, like, if I don't love it, I need to say so. And maybe it's inherent pressures on them that have kind of
inherent. I think it's inherent in the business model. Forget, like, even price or whatever. If I built that business model, like, let's say tomorrow on my channel I start charging for reviews, I'm fucked. There's just no way you can take someone. Just think about.
Do they charge? I don't even know if they charge for reviews. Like,
they charge straight
the way that we do.
No, it's a retainer. We do the same. They do the same retainer with everyone. In your package, it says we're gonna do a breakdown, right? Ingredient breakdown, a review, a blog post, and according to Robert, a blowjob. So there's.
I think ours just says that they're gonna cover us, like, organically cover, like, even our athlete agreements. We don't actually have posting requirements in any of them. So, and they definitely don't have any BJ clauses in there. But
you're getting ripped off. You're getting ripped off.
Yeah.
We're negotiating.
I need a new fucking.
But my point is that my point at the end of the day, my point is it's very hard when you take money. It's very hard to say bad things. But I think the channel, in any case, it's not. I'm now starting to do marketing advice for PricePool, but the channel lost its review appeal anyway a long time ago. Nobody's watching these fucking videos anyway. It's like 100 views per video. So move on to. You want to be a scientist? Be a scientist. Nobody gives a shit about views here. And be industry news, because I can see most of the people watching it is industry insiders. Have the industry insiders watch it. It's an announcement board. It's a leaderboard where you see what got announced and do an ingredient breakdown. Forget
Well, what I can say is that Shane covers the most brand, Shane covers the most brands obviously on Stacked, and all the news, probably stuff that doesn't even deserve to be on Stacked, frankly, if you ask me. But
unbiased though, right? Like flat. It doesn't care if it's a big brand, small brand, or whatever.
And look, to be honest, guys, again, Shane, I'm sure you know this, but and not to blow up your head, but look, the traffic data, Alexa, whatever you want to use, you are exponentially ahead of the other guys. So I think that again, we partner with them because they create a type of content for us that we don't really create a lot for ourselves, and that's been good. But I think just like Ghost takes feedback to grow and get better every day, hopefully they can too. And I know Ben because we're friends offline, and I knew him from the NutriBio days, and we've been friends for a long time. That I know that he's probably trying to figure out the right way to grow the channel, and he definitely wants to kind of make his mark. And look, I see it. I definitely see it both ways. But I know from at least the initial question, to circle back to that, as far as why we're on there so much, I don't know, man. We drop a lot of stuff, and but the feedback and jokes aside, the feedback's good and something that I'll definitely think about, and I know that they will too.
You know what, Dan? You just actually nailed it, because the thing is that you're saying you're about transparency, right? And clearly you are, and you want people's feedback, the negative and the good and the bad. But at the same time, what you said is that everything has to come organic, everything has to come real, and you don't want to sugarcoat anything. You're willing to accept the truth. And you never said that you have the best pre-workout on the market. You never said that you have the best protein on the market. You never called yourself the best. And, just by saying that earns respect automatically, I think, well, from me and from a lot of people, including your customers and everything else. And then, when I met Ben, I actually like the guy a lot, but you can't like somebody, or you're going to lose respect for somebody who calls himself the exact opposite of what you do. The guy calls himself the leader.
Okay.
A leader.
And I think we're done with talking about him.
Hold on.
He's
not here. He's not here.
Let's end the conversation this way. Let's end it this way. I think that this is good life advice for everyone watching. And this is life advice I got during my pilot days, dude. I was a captain at 21. I thought my shit didn't stink. I was probably an asshole, straight up. And somebody pulled me aside and they go, Dan, people know. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, people know. If you're good, people know. And if you suck, people know. You don't have to tell them, right? And that was something that stuck with me, for the rest of my life. That let your work do the talking. And,
but somebody pointed that to you, right?
Yeah. Somebody had to point that out to me. Look, dude, bro, I had seen Top Gun 1,000 times. Could memorize it. I thought I was Tom fucking Cruise walking around 21 years old in a pilot uniform. And so look, I had a lot to learn. I still do. The day I'm done learning is the day I'm dead. So that's
the only way we can improve. We only can improve, whether it's a sport or business or a personal life, by fixing mistakes. That's the only way to kind of get ahead of life.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
I was going to say I had one question, but we can go to this one.
Fire away.
Well, Shane, go first, and then we'll get to the comments. Go ahead.
So this question only came up because it was about a few months ago. Someone said to me, and I hadn't heard the same before, but apparently it's common. A brand or a new brand only has kind of like that sizzle phase or that innovation phase for the first 5 years. And it got me thinking, the brands have only been around for 5 years, or who have made a noise, and in that 5 years was Redcon 1 and yourselves. And I was curious, you got that initial phase before you start making that turn, whether it's intentional or not, into mainstream. When you get into Walmart, you immediately become a mainstream brand. You're not going to appeal to the likes of Apollon fans or TJ's DMAA sniffers, right? You're not going to. Do you feel that stage is approaching for Ghost? I believe you've done a great job so far at just keeping things fresh. I said this to you the other day. You've been doing formulas and collabs and releases that are as interesting and innovative as you were in the first year. In fact, actually more innovative, maybe the second year. They're on level with since 2017. Do you feel there's that, not necessarily urge, but you're being forced to, like, obviously, if you have to grow into, if you want to go into this country, you got to do these rules. If you want to get into like the energy drink into here, you got to come down to this price point. Do you feel that phase is coming, or do you just like, fuck that, I'm gonna stick with?
Bro, me and Ryan don't report to anybody. And that's the biggest thing is like, a lot of these companies go into those markets, or they have to cheapen their products or whatever because they need to grow year over year over year over year. Maybe they took a buyout or private equity money, or maybe they have other shareholders or whatever it is. Like, honestly, like I don't, we don't owe that to anybody. So we're really just growing in a way that we think is right. What I can say is like, right now, no, there's no desire for us to go into Walmart, especially with our powder products or that. I'll say this much. I mean, I don't know if Walmart wants to sell the energy cans. I don't know. Fuck yeah. Right. I mean, like they sell a lot of energy drinks. Like the energy drinks for us aren't just about representing sports nutrition well in the energy drink category and trying to create something cool in the energy drink category. For me, it's also opening up Ghost to a whole load of new customers. Right. Like if you're walking through the airport, right, and right now, you want a healthy snack, you got like Muscle Milk or Core Power, some shit in there. If you walk through the airport like in a couple months and you see a Ghost Chips Ahoy ready to drink protein shake, maybe that person starts to buy the powder. Maybe that person. Right. So for me,
in the
like
RTD space, or protein bars, if you ever come out with some functional food thing, then it makes perfect sense. I don't think it democratizes the brand or does anything like that.
Right.
Or like
but the rest of the stuff, there's no reason. I don't see any reason that we'd go that route, especially in a Walmart. I mean, I have to wonder at some point, like, something like protein, which is just a food. Like, could you sell like a Chips Ahoy protein in a channel like that? 1 pound, not 2 pound. Like, I don't know, maybe. But dude, like, I don't know. We're not there yet. And as far as the innovation curve of the first 5 years versus the next 5 or the next 5, like, one thing that really excites me about Ghost is we've got a ton of runway. Like, we really don't even have that many products now compared to most people. Well, we got like a pre-pump creatine. You have like a fat burner. You have a multi. We had launched greens last year. You have a protein and a vegan protein. Gamer now. But like, there's a lot of other places to go. Like, we've been talking about like doing Ghost Sleep as we discussed, right? Maybe a joint product at some point if we can actually flavor it to a Ghost standard. Like there's a lot of places, we can go. That's just 2 off the top of my head. There's a lot of places we can go where we've got a lot of runway in front of us. And even like this year that gyms were kind of closed down and the world was in a really weird place. It's better to be lucky than good, guys. Like having, products like Greens, Gamer, Glow, and Energy ready for last year, like that was perfect. We're not that good, man. That was just luck that those things were ready during that time. And then now the plan this year, as hopefully the world please is going to start moving forward to kind of bring some innovation and updates to Legend V2, Size V2, Pump V2 to kind of go back to our sports nutrition roots. Like that's kind of like, we really do feel like we're just getting started. And honestly, Legend, when we first launched in 2016, we wanted it to be kind of a flexible product, kind of this like, well, now that we have so many other great products like Gamer or Burn or whatever out there, we can actually go deeper down into making Legend a true pre-workout because it doesn't have to be quite as flexible for that consumer because there's other things in the Ghost line now. So that's kind of the direction we're going with some of these V2s as we get going, and I think you guys are going to be really excited about them.
Awesome.
TJ will just add like 25 megs of 50 megs of DMA, but besides that, like, we good.
Dan, you said that you're not planning like, ahead of time and you're going like brick by brick, right? Do you think that you have a specific market in mind that, Ghost is targeting? Or do you think that you'll have like a more of a broad spectrum where you can go hardcore or, more mainstream? Or do you have anything in mind? Or is like teenagers, like younger generation?
Dude, it's a great question. And I think for us, my vision is almost Nike-esque in some ways, where one thing I really like about Nike is they have Nike running and football and basketball and skateboarding and right. And they're all good in their own way. And they're all the part of the Nike brand and have that Nike quality or brand appeal, but they're all also different. And I think that at some point, that's really like a big goal for Ghost. Look at the history of this industry. You have a lot of one-hit wonders. And I don't mean any disrespect there because their one hit is 10 times bigger than Ghost is. Right. But like, you take a brand like, VPX, now, boom, they're Bang Energy. That's what they are. Optimum Nutrition, gold standard way. Scivation, Extend. I mean, even my former, right, C4. That's like, so like I think we aspire to do something bigger and broader, where pre-workout is just as important as protein, as energy, as protein RTDs. Is like we really want to have and do well in all these categories. Which, like, look, Shane knows that's like impossible to do. Most brands don't excel in every category, and I'm not saying that we do yet, but that's definitely a goal of mine. As far as who that's for or what that looks like, look, I know like our customers. Kind of from the data, trend a little bit younger than others, 25 to 35, and I keep adding a year every year I get older to the end of that. Like it keeps going up 1 year. It's not the 18 to 24. It's actually more the 25 to per the data. But I think like, look, we're going to keep making great products, and like I say, trying to build a lot of different reasons for people to like us. So as far as international expansion goes, or as far as like other markets that we want to get into, I think that it's always been really important to me. Like I'm first generation Portuguese and Italian, right? And so I like to think, I don't think like a classic American where we sit in our ivory tower and think the things that we do in the States are going to work in other parts of the world. I'm pretty well traveled and my family's all over, and I'm proud of that. So I really want to do a better job than we have done for the global markets. A lot of our innovation, especially with collaborations, has been limited in North America. So, I think we've kind of underserved, some of the markets, especially like, Europe. Like Lukasz to tell you, like Ghost isn't really a big brand in continental Europe. We have a good presence in the UK, but continental Europe, we're just scratching the surface, if that. So I think like we've got a lot of work to do on the international front. And that's personally something that eats at me because of just my background and my family, where I want to be. So I think that that's really a big goal, like a more tangible goal as far as what's next for us.
And, you were talking about innovation, like collaborations and stuff like that. I think that you definitely, kind of like open the doors or, serves as an example to possibilities for many other brands. So clearly you did something, again, outside the box, which I always respect whenever somebody does that. Years ago, and you've been in the industry for many years. I wanted to ask your opinion about sponsored athletes, like big names in the industry and stuff like that. Clearly, you got away and succeeded without them. What is your opinion about having like bodybuilders, like back in the day, everybody sponsored a big name bodybuilder and stuff? Do you think it's well, clearly it's not necessary for you, but what is your opinion about it?
I think that any sponsorship you go into is a partnership, and it should be a two-way street. What is that person able to bring to the brand uniquely, and what can that brand do for that person uniquely? I think the days are long gone where you can just have an athlete, bodybuilder, footballer, it doesn't matter, right? And they just pose with the product and smile, and like I don't think that's going to sell product anymore. So I think nowadays it's really all about how can that person show use of the product, and how are they organically associated with the brand, and where's the authentic partnership and two-way street between the brand and that person. That's one reason why, for example, Ghost has never really partnered with any like mainstream, like traditional athletes like football or baseball or any of that, because a lot of times you don't have the access to those people, especially on game day, to actually show how they're tied with the brand. So it just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel legitimate. I think that no matter what the walk of life is, no matter what the sport is, an athlete can definitely have value and bring unique value to you, but they have to be willing to kind of put in the work to show like, hey, this is how Apollon Nutrition and I, like, this is where we kind of merge. This is my relationship with them. It's not just a paycheck. And I think that, for the traditional bodybuilder, to answer your question, like that wasn't a thing 10 years ago. Think about bodybuilding 10 years ago. Like you used to see your favorite bodybuilder, once, 2, 3 times a year on stage. And then they get to go into hiding the rest of the year. Nowadays, man, if Christian Guzman, goes missing on social media for 2 days, people are calling the FBI. It's a totally different world. So I think like even the traditional bodybuilders have had to probably adapt, and that's one reason I've got the utmost respect for like Jay, Cutler. We got to spend some time with him, especially at global shows. He's here in Vegas too. Like, I mean, that dude is still all over social media. He's adapted. He's one of the nicest dudes. He will have met you once and remember your name 10 years later. I don't know how he does it. But that's an example of somebody who's from that world who's been able to transition and do a great job. And I don't know if enough people, traditional bodybuilders, kind of really appreciate what that takes just in the market of today.
But traditionally speaking, again, 5-10 years ago, it was the norm to go to a bodybuilding show like the Olympia, have a sponsor, sponsor athlete, somebody from the Olympia, etc., etc. But now, even based on what you guys been doing, is it really necessary for you to go to the Olympia? Is it necessary for you to be involved with the bodybuilding community, which I'm pretty sure that most of your consumers are probably not even bodybuilders?
Right. I mean, we have a fair amount of competitors, which is not even sponsored, right? Because I think, like, again, the appeal to compete is probably so far in the minority now that the brand's built on that. I just think they're kind of under leveraging like what they're doing. I mean, let's face it, like a good pre-workout is a good pre-workout for the weekend warrior, just like it is for the competitor, amateur or pro. And I think that was kind of one of the big fallacies that Ghost was kind of built on bucking, right? Like this idea that you have to train a certain way, sleep a way, supplement, eat, like that's not appropriate for 99% of users. And honestly, the 1% that is appropriate for, they just want shit for free. They want to they don't want to buy, right? So it's not even really kind of focused on that. So I think it's a balancing act, right, between the two. But look, you hit on a lot of things with your brand that frankly I wish that we can do. Like, I mean, I love training in like the, and the more hardcore environment and speaking in that way and doing that. Like, well, I know that most Ghost customers maybe wouldn't appreciate that, right? And so I think like that's, again, goes back to that idea of like a brand can't be everything to everybody. You really have to know yourself and know your vision and understand that not everyone, is going to like your brand or buy your brand. Hopefully they respect your brand, but the rest is okay. And like, look, I'll say one last thing, which would be interesting to get your feedback on. Like, I'm a big believer, and I know somebody posted this a week ago or so, and it was me who said it, but like, I wholeheartedly believe you own your company, but you do not own your brand. Right. And if you really think about what that means, it's really important because it kind of informs your decisions going forward.
Agree.
We've got several V2 questions, Dan, so let's roll through some of these. The easiest one is Ghost V2 release date.
Pump V2 will actually be the first one out. I don't have a calendar in front of me, but a lot of the V2s are going to be coming out right around the same time, end Feb through March. So get ready. We're probably pretty close.
Okay. Can't wait for the new Ghost Greens collab. Any chance passion fruit will remain a permanent flavor?
I mean, dude, it's been crushing in Ghost Glow. It's a great flavor. So yeah, maybe we'll see. Allie, what's cool about this one is Allie actually drew the label. For the label fans at home. Cool. So she actually drew the label. So that was kind of cool. Again, that's an example. Like, look, there's Allie, Bess, who you guys probably no idea who the hell she is. And that's fine. She was somebody who used to take over the Campus Protein like Snapchat back in the day, and she had a great personality. She's hilarious. She has a really great vibe about her. Hot, works out. Actually, speaks pretty intelligently on pro. She had like 5,000 followers at the time. But we worked with her because, again, what could we do from her? Well, we knew that we could, probably help her grow her network on our platform. And for us, like, she was she would be able to, like, the quickest to take product shots and just give again, it's a unique relationship with every ambassador that we have. And now to see how she's been able to grow her platform, now she's drawing her own label and doing a special edition flavor for her. It's cool and it's organic. Like, this is not going to be a massive dollar driver or innovation for Ghost, but it's just fun and it's cool and it's a way to, again, have an organic relationship or authentic relationship with an ambassador.
It's basically appreciation of the people that you work with, right?
Yeah, dude, the people, like I said, like the nuances between products, most people will never understand. Flavors are totally personal experiences, as we talked about. I'm a really big believer that at the end of the day, it's the people that make a lot of differences between these brands, like the leadership and the mindset and the vision and the just duty of care. It's the people that make the difference.
Any things you can divulge about size V2?
Yeah, look, I'll say this. I'm jumping the gun a couple days because this is going to be on our YouTube on Wednesday. But one of the big changes that we made here is we used to have kind of a cool concept of full yield creatine where we had a mix of creatine hydrochloride and creatine monohydrate, both delivering 2.5 grams each of actual creatine. I'm a big believer the reason why monohydrate always wins in the clinical is because they're never testing actual delivered creatine equally. It's always like 5 grams of mono versus like 3 grams or even 5 grams of creatine hydrochloride, which doesn't deliver the same amount of creatine at all. So that's why we did that in V1. In V2, we actually switched over to 100% Creapure. A brand new partnership with Creapure. So we're going a little more tried and true and then bringing some additional value in other ways. But Yeah, so 5 grams Korea Pure in the new one.
Any other info on the ingredients?
Shane's got the notepad ready. He's
that's
ready.
it for now. That's it for now, buddy.
You sure? Not like. Okay, wait. How many extra ingredients will be in there?
I'm not good at math.
I mean, there's not going to be 10. There's going to be like 2 or 3, if that.
Yeah.
You want?
But the
You'll
Okay.
You'll watch the video on Wednesday, Shane. That's coming soon.
Yeah, but I needed some excitement for today.
There's always a room for a story.
Will all the original ingredients be in there? Because I love that original mix. Those and to your point, I've seen 3 brands copy it ingredient for ingredient, and I mentioned it to them.
I think that the only ingredient that's not in there is hydrochloride. Now it's 100%. So everything else returned, and then there's some additions.
Interesting. I'm assuming all geared towards the idea of muscle building and
yeah, nothing changed there. The V2, look, V2, I saw a review bros posted meme on this about how usually when brands say V2, it's a bad day. Like, not for us. If anything, we made the products generally more expensive. Like, and the concept of the V2s for us is, number one, listening to feedback we've gotten over the years, good and bad. And then number two, versus being a brand new company, we have good ingredient partnerships now that we're able to leverage and actually put more stuff in there that we just didn't even have access to. Back, like, we couldn't even have access to, like, nitrosogens going into Legend V2. We didn't even have access to that ingredient 4 or 5 years ago.
Synactive or Actogen, is that one of them?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you've watched, I'm a huge Actogen fan. Synactive.
Yeah.
Pretty fun. You want to talk about a difference between Ghost and a lot of the other? You want to talk back to the pet peeve thing, TJ? Mm-hmm. Like, I saw somebody post recently, like, that their product is featuring the all new Synactive. And then you watch the Ghost channel, and I'm like, yeah, so one of my favorite ingredients has been Actogen. They just renamed it Synactive, but I think it's because estrogen, Actogen is too close. It's confusing. I'm sitting here just like, yo, this is what it is. But then other brands are like, oh, it's the all-new Synactive.
Yeah, I actually just had that. Someone said that to me. They said the supplement's exactly the same, but they've added Synactive. And I said, I think it was Inspired CR3. He said to me that we've made one change. They added Synactive, and I was like, well, no. It's Actogen. It's just a new name. And when I wrote the story on it, I didn't say that. I said it's identical.
Just why? Like, why not just be like, dude, this is, people are gonna like.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, because they hit me up and they said, we want to run some ads to, like, get the idea out there that Actogen is now Synactive. And I said, oh, okay, why they change it? And this was like 3-4 months ago, and they said the same thing. They said it wasn't. People thought Actogen and estrogen were similar in effectiveness when they're completely separate. Yeah,
confusing. Yeah, and like, same dose too, like, say 50 mg dose. So
it is 50.
I think there's a lot of reasons that could be confusing. So, but again, like, you see the Ghost channel, I'm like, hey, this is exactly what happened. But then the rest of the industry is like the all new Synactive.
Yeah, I'm not. If you had Actogen before and you have Synactive now, I'm not going to say it's all.
Yeah, we didn't have it. But we just added it. But yeah, it's still like, I still broke it down.
So Synactive is going to be in there.
All right, it's already out, dude. It's already been out there that Synactive's going to Legend V2.
Legend.
We use.
I thought you were going to put it in size.
Maybe it's in both, dude. I don't know.
Wow, Shane.
He's a relentless.
He's to the fire right now. Dan, for the listeners that may not be as familiar with Actogen or Synactive, you've said that it's one of your favorite ingredients. Like, expound on why you like it so much.
Yeah, so I take.
Do it in a Russian accent, please.
I was actually about to throw it out in Russian. I'm not going to go down there. Look, I play hockey a couple nights a week. That's as close to cardio as I generally get. And like, Actogen has been something that's been part of my pre-hockey stack, for quite a long time now. So I think that, and we teased it in, I think, the Rob Lipset collab. Like, what people don't really maybe understand we do with a lot of these athlete collabs is, like, we're actually kind of, in some respects, beta testing different formula concepts and getting feedback in real time and playing with different ideas. Like, hey, like, does the Ghost customer respond to 3.2 grams of beta-alanine, or are they going to freak out? Right? Or, hey, like, do people value Actogen, or do they respond to this ingredient? Like, so Legend V2 is really kind of the I don't know, like, the sum of a lot of feedback and some of what we've done with kind of some of these limited editions. And so one of the big changes is that adding Actogen which has been part of my pre-hockey kind of routine now for, for quite a long time. I think from a general, like, just, I don't know, I want to say like endurance or muscular energy type of thing. I really do feel a difference, and I take it at a double dose usually, but I really do feel a difference. It's been part of my routine now for the last year and a half. So I'm in my mid 30s, so I need every advantage I can when I get on the ice against the kids.
Perfect. This will be the last call for questions for people tuning in on the live stream. We're coming up on the 2 hour
I
mark.
grew old by like 2 hours. That's like 5% of what I have left.
I will say, TJ, that it's a rule in the Ghost office. Like, we make a lot of mom jokes, but sister jokes are usually too far.
Really? Wow.
When you get older, you'll learn that it's okay.
I know.
Exactly.
Well, it says Ryan's the one with the sister, so he gets really touchy, but
At my age, moms are just too old.
That's fair. Oh, man.
Gross. All right, Dan. Well, this was a blast, man. Thank you for making the time today. Is there anything you want to shamelessly plug, do anything like that? Any parting words of wisdom you want to say?
No, dude. Look, I said it at the beginning of this. I'll say it at the end. I mean, I think it's really cool that all of us have, different perspectives, different approaches, even different preferences, I think, as far as like supplements are concerned. And I think that what's cool is that, we all love the industry. We all love the category, that there's a shitload of common ground, even though people may say, man, the 6 people on this podcast couldn't be any more different, or at least like I'm like, whatever. And I think that it's a really cool thing to be able to come together and just shoot the shit about the industry and supplements and the good, bad, and everything in between. And, I think that, like I said, I appreciate the opportunity. Humbled you guys had me on, and, hopefully it won't be the last time.
Yeah. Hey, congrats.
Hopefully this will not be the final scoop. How about that?
It won't. Congrats on the success, man. It takes a lot to build something that makes an impact and a difference. So I'm sure a lot of sleepless nights. So I'm sure, congrats.
Look, I appreciate that. And like I said, especially TJ, coming from you, I know that, for example, like a lot of the ghosts, especially like pre-workout, doesn't hit you in the feels for what you look for. Right. And I appreciate, like I said, that's totally fine by me. I appreciate that. Like I said, humbled you even had me on to have the conversation and for the compliment about what we're doing. And right. Look, I look forward to doing more with you guys in the future. I already told Robbie I'm going to come by the gym in New Jersey and smash it next time.
I'm actually ordering right now your nut butter.
No, let me send it to you. I'm
trying to try it. Actually, you see, you're a great reviewer.
There you go. Okay, awesome.
Thank you so much, Dan. It's a pleasure, and congratulations.
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, thank you all. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you much, Dan. For the listeners tuning in on the live stream and those of you catching on the replay, thank you for tuning in and dealing with us banter for the past 2 hours. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give us a 5-star review on your podcast listening platform preference, as that helps us climb in the almighty algorithm. And thank you again, Dan, and for my friends that join me every week here. And we will catch you next time on the Final Scoop.
See you guys. Thanks.
Bye. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.